Weight loss psychology. What is it and how can you use it to your advantage? I have Dr. Whiting here to kind of break down what weight loss psychology is. And I guess the first place to start is I've heard you talk about weight loss psychology for 20 years. And I've heard you say multiple times to thousands and thousands of people, it's desire, mindset, and reason. Please explain.
Everybody seems to think that because excess body weight is a physical thing, therefore weight loss is a physical process. And in part, that's true. However, mindset is really, really important. So let's start from early stages of someone wanting to go on a diet. They decide that they're 20, 25 pounds, 30 pounds overweight, and that this has just got to stop. We've just got to do something about this. And so they start a diet program, enter a weight loss class, go to a fitness center, and they say, I'm here to try to lose some weight.
Try.
Yeah. They're already set themselves up for failure. Instead of saying, I'm here to lose this excess weight because da-da-da-da-da, no, I'm here to try. Well, the reason why they say that is because of two reasons. One, they've probably tried to lose weight before on a half a dozen other programs and failed.
Yeah.
And secondly, the desire wasn't there. When you talk to people about weight loss, they'll always say, I'm trying to get motivated to go on this diet. I'm trying to find the motivation. And we're all trying to find motivation for all kinds of things.
Well, mine was easy. All my old friends fat-shamed me over the internet.
Well, that'll work.
And that was a big motivation.
And that worked well.
Yeah.
But motivation is a funny thing. Let me give you a more easier example. Let's say you have a garage that's full of crap, right? Because that's where people put everything that they don't know what else to do with. And so you say, I've really got to clean this garage out. I can't even walk around in here. I need to get motivated to do that.
Yeah.
What you're really saying is you've got to find a reason to do that. You see, motivation is a funny, tricky thing. In absolute fact of the matter, motivation doesn't exist at all. There's no such thing. Motivation is a byproduct of something else, which is why nobody can find the motivation to do anything, because they're looking for something that's not there.
Of desire.
It is a byproduct of desire.
Got it.
So let's look at it from that point of view. Okay? You have a desire to lose the excess weight. Why do you want to do that? Now we become into an area of very, very important psychology. Let's say this lady wants to lose 25 pounds because she wants to go to her 25-year high school reunion.
That's motivation.
Okay, so that desire to do that motivates her to do so. And she's so desirous to walk into that event in that same little black dress she wore in high school. And she's going to fit in that thing no matter what she does. And she will exercise, she will starve, she will do whatever it takes to meet that goal.
Yeah.
And let's say it's 3 months away or 4 months away. Well, guess what happens? She goes to the event. She does indeed fit in that little black dress. Yeah. Everybody goes, ooh and ah, look at her, because everybody else is fat and out of shape by now. And she's just, her ego and her satisfaction is just through the roof. Well, guess what's going to happen to that lady? Very likely when she gets home. She's going to hang that little black dress back in the closet, and she's going to gain all her weight back.
But why?
Because of the reason for her to lose the weight is gone.
Huh. That seems...
She had the event.
Yeah.
She went to it. That was the only thing that drove her.
So then how do you cultivate a strong desire to succeed?
It has to be
over a long period.
A desire has to be greater than you.
Okay.
So, for example, I want to lose this 40 pounds because I want to live longer, because I want to enjoy my grandchildren. I want to be able to bounce them on my non-arthritic knees and enjoy them. I want to be here, and I want to be in decent health so I can really enjoy being with them.
Yeah.
I want to live long enough to see advances in cancer because I watched my husband or my wife die from it, and it's really important to me to see this through and see what's going to happen with the current research.
Yeah.
So the desire has to be greater than you, because when it's greater than you, it never goes away.
Yeah.
It's not like the high school reunion that's gone.
Yeah.
It's there. You want to enjoy your later years in life and your family. Well, that's not going to go away.
Yeah.
So then you have a greater desire.
So you have a permanent desire.
Yes, and the permanent desire creates permanent motivation.
Got it.
So it's all very psychological, and it's very, very... I see so many people sabotage their weight loss mentally.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just too much trouble, and it's just too... And
that's because the desire is not there.
It's not strong enough.
So, in this calculation, is it good to have supportive people around you, whether that's family or friends?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because everybody has a bad day. Everybody has a bad week. Some people have a bad month.
Yeah.
And that's when you need people to say, this is okay. You're doing good. And follow your program. And the beautiful thing about our program is that it is very forgiving. We have cheat days built into it.
Yeah.
We encourage you to lose weight slower rather than faster, because it'll be more permanent weight loss if you go slow. So there's all these things that make our program a bit easier than a lot of these out there, which are, like you go to these meetings and they shame you, and they got the psychological, whipping the gun out, and they're just gonna
they even got commercials
up,
poking fun at it now.
Yeah, and
where the guy goes up and he goes, "I want to cancel my gym membership," and they go, "Oh, you're a disgrace."
Yeah, exactly. And our program is a lot more user friendly, let's say. But certainly, if you have people around you, the last thing you want are people around you to say, "Oh, Doris, you need to live. Let's go out. You can go back on that diet tomorrow." That's not what you need.
Well, isn't that misery loves company kind
Absolutely.
of thing? So how do you maintain the desire and motivation through the tougher times?
Well, again, it's why do you want to do this?
Yeah.
Why do you want to lose this weight? Why do you want to get healthier?
So you got to look for the reason to get the desire and to stay in the mindset.
Yeah, and then you'll be motivated.
Got it. All right, so the final question is that I'm dying to know. What are your thoughts on Ozempic?
Ozempic is playing into the hands of psychology, this is a good topic to talk about it. Immediate gratification.
Oh.
The magic bullet, the magic pill that's going to make all of this go away and make all of this so easy and so simple.
Oh.
I'm just going to take this injection, and boy, the weight is going to fall off, and I'm going to be great. However, and it's already beginning to happen, even though this craze is not that old yet.
Yeah.
It's already beginning to happen. People are getting serious gastrointestinal side effects.
Yeah.
It is damaging their gastrointestinal system. And one thing that the manufacturers of this don't tell you is that 99 times out of 100, when you stop taking this drug, you gain all your weight back because it's a false sense of weight loss. You have not changed your body chemistry. You are relying on a foreign substance to do the job for you. And as soon as you remove that powerful substance, then your weight comes back on. Remember that drugs like Ozempic are and were designed for type 2 diabetes.
Yeah, which is very, very good for them.
And it's very good for them in many cases,
Yeah.
especially if they are unable or unwilling to control their lifestyle with diabetes. Then it's very helpful.
Yeah.
But if someone just wants to lose weight, they're looking for the easy way out, and they don't realize that everything has a price
Yeah.
you pay.
And it plays with the psychology of the little black dress. Because then once
Sure.
once that night is over,
Yeah.
you don't need the Ozempic.
Yeah. So I'll stop taking it and I'll gain
then-
all my weight back.
Man,
Yep.
that's fascinating. So what about your weight management test on healthyinformation.com?
Well, we designed that test several years ago. And it was
I
designed...
think it was like 15, right?
Yeah,
20 years ago?
and it really was because people constantly wanted to know, how do I tell how my body handles food?
Yeah,
how
or
do
what-
I know?
Or why it's important to find out your body type.
Exactly. And they always said, well, how can I know this? If it's so darn important, how do I make this happen? How do I find out?
Yeah.
So we designed this little self-test. It's a bunch of yes or no questions. And
And you can take it for free at
you can take it for free.
healthyinformation.com.
It's right on our website. And based on the answers that you provide, we can have a pretty good idea after working with thousands of people
Yeah.
whether your body is sensitive to excess calories or whether you're sensitive to excess sugar-forming, glucose-forming foods. Whether you are extra sensitive to certain types of fats, whether you're diabetic. It gives us a whole lot of answers. And based on those answers, we can then design a weight management program that's likely to be far more effective than if you just went into it blindfolded.
And so what's the big difference between calorie sensitive and carb intolerant as just the basic?
Well, there are a lot of detail things, but as a general rule, when I look at somebody, I already have a fairly good idea whether they're calorie sensitive or carb intolerant before we take the test. And the reason is this: a person who's calorie sensitive will carry their weight around the midsection, primarily.
Well, I'm carbohydrate intolerant, and I was working pretty good on that.
Yeah, well, it's not the case for everybody, but the reason why it didn't apply as much to you is because you were otherwise fairly physically fit.
Okay.
And that helped you.
Yeah.
Women tend to carry weight more evenly distributed than men. Men have a tendency to have the beer belly, the beer gut.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, people who are calorie sensitive will gain 20, 25, maybe even 30 pounds, and then they'll plateau. They won't gain any more, no matter how much they eat. Conversely, a carbohydrate intolerant individual will carry their weight from head to toe. They'll have a fat chin, fat little cheeks, their ankles will be fat, and everything in between. And that's because when glucose converts to triglycerides, and I don't want to get you too confused here, but basically when that happens and the triglycerides get deposited in the fat cells, they carry along with them water. And so when you are a carbohydrate intolerant overweight person, your weight is flabby, gelatinous, as opposed to if you're calorie sensitive, your weight is going to be more solid. It's going to be more dense because of the lack of water that is carried with triglycerides. So those are just some of the things that we look for.
Just the basic, yeah.
Yeah, and all of that is
but the test is a lot more in depth.
Yes, absolutely. But that's just a general rule, and that's the basic introduction. And that's all covered in the test, as well as more finer details that we need to know.
Okay, and so the test, it's on healthyinformation.com.
Yep.
You can take it for free.
Yep.
And then you can call you 619-507-2113 or email you at askthedoc@healthyinformation, and then you can kind of help figure out which one
type
you are,
of program we're going to put
are.
you on. Yeah. And also keep in mind that there are an increasing number of fitness centers and gyms that are also using our program.
Yeah.
And if they are, you're very lucky you got it made, because you'll have help right there.
Kind of have the key.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the key.
Yeah.
And so how important are dietary supplements in the weight loss process, do you think?
When I was doing powerlifting and bodybuilding in the 1970s, I learned from one of the most controversial yet greatest gurus in bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And he said flat out, bodybuilding is 70% diet and supplements and 30% exercise.
Wow.
And I have to say it's the same thing for a healthy life, for weight loss. Supplements are 70%, and exercise and diet is 30%. Now, they all go together and make a huge, nice package. You can't really be successful one without the other. Well, you can, but it's harder.
Yeah.
But supplements are things that prevent starvation hormones from forming. And if you're not clear about how that is, you go back and check out our video on starvation hormones, and you'll learn very, very quickly how supplements can prevent this devastating side effect from occurring.
Yeah, and there's plenty of other ones that go along with it too. I mean, full spectrum nutrition as the baseline.
Because when your body is lacking in nutrients, it perceives that as starvation.
Yeah.
And then it slows your metabolism down, you plateau, and all kinds of other nasty things happen that you don't want on a weight loss program.
And so how much does stress play a factor in weight loss?
Stress plays a factor in everything in human physiology.
Wow.
I always say that whatever is wrong with you, when you're under stress, it's going to be 10 times worse. Doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
I've seen diabetics undergo severe stress and their blood sugar's all over the chart. Can't control it no matter what.
That's fascinating.
I've seen people on weight loss programs who went under a huge amount of stress. They plateaued no matter what we could do. Couldn't break it until we got them help with stress management, and we do that primarily through therapy and through biochemical stress support nutrients.
Yeah. And of course, some people call it meditation and some people call it prayer, but that always helps everybody too, right?
You bet, because anything that's going to be
being in the moment,
release
those kind
the stress.
of things.
Yeah, and that's another thing. I mean, it's an interesting thing if you watch people. As we grow older, we tend to live more in the past. And that's because we don't have that much future left, and we're looking at the good old days. Oh, I remember. Chances are they weren't that good when they occurred. But, and then you have young people. They're constantly in the future.
Yeah.
What am I going to do? What's my career? How am I going to pay for college? Do I want a family? Do I want to marry? Do I want to have kids? Do I want to stay single? They're constantly in the future, but nobody's in the present moment.
Yeah.
And the present moment is the only one any of us have. And when you're in the present moment, only so much drama fits in there.
Yeah.
But when you're in the past and in the future, not so good. People who live in the past tend to be depressed and melancholy. People who live in the future tend to be anxious and neurotic.
Yeah, and that's not going to help.
And that's not going to help your weight loss at all.
Yeah. What about, and this is just fascinating to me, I saw this. March 13th is Registered Dietitian and Nutritionist Day.
It is. That would be today, in fact.
Yeah, March 13th, yeah. First of all, it's hilarious in so many ways because most registered dietitians admittedly say that dietary supplements are not needed.
That's right. And they've clung to that viewpoint for 70 years.
And why have they clung to it?
Well, the reason why, I believe, is because they're dealing, well, it gets kind of political, but the dietary supplement industry is at direct odds with the pharmaceutical companies in many ways.
Oh, yeah.
All right. And they're at direct odds, not so much now, but they were for decades, sort of at odds with the medical industry. Because medicine is driven by pharmaceuticals and not nutrients. Well, the registered dietitian industry, it was for a long time and probably still is, perhaps more not as noticeable, but under the umbrella of the medical industry. So when you have a group of people, they're not going to be promoting the supplement industry because they're basically working with and for the medical industry. The medical industry is not pushing supplements. They're not teaching prevention, although that's, thank goodness, slowly getting a little better.
Yeah.
But they're basically pushing drugs. And so the medical industry, the dietetics industry, their position is you can get all the nutrients you need from a balanced diet. They never tell you what a balanced diet is, by the way, but just eat a balanced diet.
Yeah.
And then you go, well, what's that?
Well, that's the same. There was a show on MTV a bunch of years back about a guy with a friend, and the friend was really, really overweight. And the friend that wasn't overweight was trying to explain to him, don't you want to live a longer life for your family and your kids and all that? And took him to a registered dietitian. And the dietitian would basically just tell him to eat less and to try to exercise. And so 6 months, 3 months went by, and they went back in, and he lost no weight. And he said, well, I'm trying my best. And he said, I still haven't got the exercise, but I'm going to work on that soon. And the registered dietitian said, great, keep it up. And I was looking at that, and so were the people in the show, and going, well, this can't be right. And another 3 months or another 6 months passed, and they went back to the registered dietitian, and they said, oh, you lost 5 pounds or 5 pounds or 3 pounds, something very little.
Minuscule.
That was almost probably just water weight. And they said, oh, well, keep it up. You're on the right track. And even in the show, the people were kind of looking at the registered dietitian like, I'm not understanding what's happening here. So why do you think they're stuck in that? I mean, you kind of just explained it, of why they've been stuck in this whole thing for so long, because of the pressure they're against as far as who they're in with.
Yep.
And I guess that would lead to, what about the food pyramid, and what is that? Because that's a registered dietitian thing.
Well, yeah, basically, it's all lumped into the same bunch of what I call constipated thinkers.
Yeah.
The food pyramid, if the truth be known, if you flipped it upside down and ate it backwards, it'd be healthier.
Whoa.
Because essentially what they're saying is low protein, very low fat, high carbohydrates, high fruits and vegetables, high grains and starches. And the food pyramid has probably contributed as much as anything I know to the epidemic of type 2 diabetes worldwide.
Wow. And so that's another thing that the dietitian on that show was bringing up, is that try some sugar-free, try some low-fat, big on the low-fat, big on the sugar-free. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, sugar-free is a good idea because we all eat our own body weight in sugar or more every year. So, I mean, that's something we can agree on.
Okay.
But as far as they're low-fat fanatics, because fat is contains or provides more than twice as many calories as any other food.
And even with all the new studies, I mean, you see it on TV of how they're saying, fat is completely not your enemy as we thought it was.
That's right. But they stick to it because that's what they've been taught for 75 years.
Yeah.
And that's what the medical industry wants them to teach.
Huh.
And all of this business about fat burning and raising your metabolism, they just don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
And that just descends into more and more things that we could talk about down the road. Like they still believe that fat causes heart disease. They still believe that fat causes obesity.
They still believe that you can get all your nutrients from a diet.
Right, and
which is impossible.
Well, even according to the National Institutes of Health, they said that the average person is 50% deficient in the essential nutrients needed for optimal wellness.
Yeah.
But they just ignore that. Oh, just eat more. Well, no, you got to lose weight. Well, eat less. It's madness.